Imagine a jungle shrouded in mist, deep in the heart of Indonesia, where the earth hums with secrets older than history itself. Beneath the roots of ancient trees lies something impossible, something the world wasn't meant to find. Scientists once thought civilization began 6,000 years ago, but what if we've been wrong all along? What if beneath the hills of Gunung Padang rests a pyramid, built 28,000 years ago by a forgotten people whose technology defies everything we know? Tonight, we journey into that mystery. You'll hear of hidden chambers, magnetic stones, and the echoes of a civilization erased from memory. So before we descend into the depths of this lost world, make sure you're comfortable, close your eyes, and let your mind drift back through time. And if you haven't already, tap like, subscribe, and join us as we uncover the secrets of the world's oldest pyramid, where history sleeps beneath the mountain. Beneath the dense canopy of Indonesia's highlands, where the air is thick with mist and the scent of damp earth, the hills rise like ancient sentinels, guarding a secret that has slept for millennia. Few travelers ever dared to step beyond the tangled vines and slippery paths, but those who did spoke of a presence that seemed alive, as if the land itself remembered a time before memory. It was here, hidden in plain sight, that a pyramid unlike any other waited quietly beneath the forest, its stones older than the oldest known civilizations, older than written history, older even than the legends whispered by shamans around flickering fires. Archaeologists had stumbled upon the site decades ago, labeling it as Gunung Padang, but what they uncovered defied their timelines. Carbon dating hinted at something unthinkable, 28,000 years old, a structure built long before humans were believed to have settled the earth in such sophistication. The locals had stories, passed down in hushed tones, stories that spoke of gods walking among men, of knowledge too vast for human understanding, and of a mountain that hid stairways to the heavens. Some dismissed these as myths, mere fairy tales born of imagination and superstition. But those who ventured near felt a pull, a subtle vibration in their bones, as if the pyramid itself breathed. The ground beneath their feet hummed with energy, faint at first, then growing stronger with every step toward the summit. Some described visions, fleeting images of massive stone platforms, intricate carvings, and corridors leading deep into the heart of the mountain. Others spoke of a weight in their chest, a sense of awe so intense that it bent the mind around it, reshaping understanding of what humanity could achieve. Early expeditions had tried to map the site, taking photographs and samples, but even the simplest of measurements puzzled scientists. The stones were enormous, some weighing more than a truck, yet they fit together with a precision that rivaled modern engineering. Moss and soil covered the surfaces, but beneath the vegetation, the edges were sharp, the angles perfect. How had a civilization 28,000 years ago mastered construction techniques that would only reappear tens of thousands of years later? The question haunted every mind that lingered too long at the site. Some theorized that this was not the work of humans at all, that perhaps a lost race, gifted with knowledge now forgotten, had walked the earth long before our recorded history began. On a cool morning with the fog still clinging to the peaks, a small team of researchers arrived. Dr. Anara Wijaya, an archaeologist with a reputation for chasing mysteries others dismissed, led the expedition. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, scanned the hillside, noting every subtle slope and depression in the terrain. Beside her walked a geologist, carrying instruments capable of detecting magnetic anomalies, and a local guide, whose family had lived in the area for generations and whose stories shaped the team's understanding of the pyramid. They moved slowly, reverent almost, aware that each step brought them closer to something that could rewrite history. As they ascended, Anara's mind wandered to the possibilities. What if beneath the visible terraces there were chambers, hidden rooms filled with relics of a civilization long erased from memory? What if the stones themselves were more than structural, imbued with properties that modern science could barely comprehend. Each question pressed against the boundaries of her understanding, compelling her forward. She felt a mix of fear and exhilaration, the kind that only comes when confronting a truth so profound it threatens to unravel the known world. Reaching the summit, the team paused. The top of the pyramid was a vast terrace of massive stones, worn by time but unbroken. Here, Anura could see the intricate layering, the steps carved with intent, not randomness. Every corner seemed to point somewhere, every alignment carefully planned. She ran her hand over the surface, tracing the grooves, imagining the hands that had shaped them so long ago. Then a sound, a low, resonant hum, vibrated through the stones. The team froze, listening. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable, as if the pyramid itself had recognized their presence. The local guide whispered an old tale, one passed down through generations. He spoke of firestones that sang when approached, of stairways that led not to rooms but to visions, of ancestors who warned that the mountain held knowledge that could overwhelm those unprepared. Anura listened, skeptical yet intrigued, feeling a shiver run down her spine. The pyramid was not merely a structure. It was a message, a testament of a people whose understanding of the cosmos was far beyond her own. Descending slightly, they discovered a narrow passage between two enormous stones. Dust and roots had filled it over millennia, but it was clearly man-made, too precise to be natural. Anura crouched, shining her flashlight into the darkness, revealing walls carved with symbols that pulsed faintly in the beam. They were not simple markings. They were intricate, geometric, and strangely familiar, resembling patterns found in ancient megalithic sites around the world. Could this connect the lost builders of Indonesia with other mysterious sites across the globe? The thought sent her heart racing. The team spent hours carefully documenting each feature, taking samples, and mapping the terrain. Every stone, every symbol, every step seemed to whisper a story. And as the sun dipped behind the peaks, casting long shadows across the terrace, Anura realized they had only scratched the surface. The pyramid was not merely a relic of a lost civilization. It was a library, a record of knowledge preserved in stone. Somewhere within its depths, secrets waited to be uncovered, secrets that could challenge everything humanity thought it knew about its past. As night fell, the mist thickened, cloaking the pyramid in mystery. The team camped nearby, but sleep came uneasily. In dreams, the mountain shifted and moved, revealing hidden chambers, glowing with an inner light, and corridors that seemed to stretch far beyond the limits of perception. Anura awoke with a start, the images vivid in her mind. She knew that tomorrow would bring new discoveries, deeper into the pyramid, closer to truths that had slumbered for 28,000 years. No map, no modern tool, could prepare them for what lay ahead. Each stone they lifted, each passage they entered, brought them closer to understanding a civilization that had vanished into time, yet left a mark so profound it could not be erased. And as dawn broke over the highlands, painting the mist with gold and shadow, the pyramid stood silent, eternal, waiting for those willing to listen to the stories embedded in its ancient heart. Here, beneath the hills of Indonesia, the lost civilization whispered, and for those patient enough to hear, history began to change. The morning air was thick with humidity as Anura and her team returned to the pyramid, their footsteps muffled by layers of fallen leaves and soft moss. The mist clung stubbornly to the stones, twisting the terraces into ghostly shapes, and for a moment, the mountain seemed alive, watching, waiting. Yesterday's discoveries had left them restless, their minds buzzing with questions and possibilities. No one spoke much as they climbed, each lost in the thought that they were standing atop something far older than humanity's memory, something that had endured 28,000 years of wind, rain, and time itself. Their first task was to investigate the narrow passage they had discovered at the summit. During the night, Anara had studied sketches and photographs, noting faint inscriptions that her eyes had barely registered in the dim light. Now, under daylight, the symbols were clearer, their intricacy breathtaking. Circles nested within triangles, interlocking patterns, strange glyphs that seemed almost alive, twisting subtly under the gaze. She traced a finger along the carvings, feeling a faint warmth, as if the stone itself responded to touch. "Do you feel that?" whispered the geologist, his voice low. "It's subtle, but the readings are off the charts. Magnetic anomalies I've never seen before. The stones, they're generating energy." Anara nodded, swallowing a lump in her throat. She had read of such phenomena before, theories dismissed as pseudoscience, but here, in front of her, the evidence was undeniable. The pyramid wasn't merely a tomb or a ceremonial platform. It was a machine, a construct designed with knowledge far beyond anything modern engineers could replicate. Perhaps this lost civilization had understood forces we had only begun to grasp, tapping into energy fields, harnessing vibrations, manipulating matter in ways that seemed impossible. The guide, sensing the tension in the air, added another layer to the mystery. "My grandfather said the stones are alive," he murmured. "They remember the people who built them. When the right person comes, the stones will open. Not with keys or tools, but with understanding." Anara frowned, unsure whether to dismiss it as folklore or to consider the idea with the seriousness it deserved. Yet the strange hums, the energy readings, and the unbroken precision of the stones suggested that something extraordinary was indeed at work. The team cleared debris from the narrow passage, revealing a staircase carved into the rock, descending into darkness. Each step was enormous, the surfaces worn smooth by what seemed to be centuries of use, though the pyramid itself was far older than any human record of timekeeping. The walls pulsed faintly with energy, and Anara felt a thrill of fear and anticipation. This was no ordinary excavation. This was an encounter with history itself, and the past had left a warning that the present barely comprehended. As they descended, the air grew cooler, carrying a scent of stone and something else, something indefinable, almost like ozone after a storm. The staircase twisted, turning sharply, leading to a chamber that seemed impossibly large for the modest hill above. Flickering lights from their torches revealed massive stone pillars, carved with symbols matching those above. But now, these carvings seemed animated, shifting subtly in the shadows, rearranging themselves as if alive. The team stopped, frozen, unsure if their eyes were playing tricks or if the stones were indeed behaving in ways they could not comprehend. In the center of the chamber lay a platform of polished stone, smooth as glass, reflecting the dim torchlight. Anara approached cautiously, brushing her hand across its surface. The touch sent a vibration through her fingers, a resonance that ran up her arm and settled in her chest. The platform was not cold, it was warm, pulsing gently as if it had a heartbeat. She could hear faint whispers, not words, not in any language she recognized, but a rhythmic murmur that seemed to echo the very patterns on the walls. The stones were speaking, or at least, something within them was communicating, a memory preserved across tens of thousands of years. Her thoughts raced. Who had built this? How had they engineered such precision without metal tools, without written records, without any trace of civilization that could have inspired it? The deeper she looked, the more she understood that the pyramid was a record, a vessel of knowledge, not meant for casual eyes. Somewhere in the layers of stone, hidden deep within these corridors, lay instructions, perhaps even technology, lost to time but waiting for discovery. The geologist moved closer, shining a device across the walls. Energy readings spiked dramatically, causing the chamber to vibrate faintly. Stones shifted, though subtly, as if acknowledging the presence of the team. "This isn't just magnetic," he whispered. "There's something else here. A frequency. It's almost conscious." Anara's heart pounded. She felt a pull deeper into the pyramid, a compulsion to follow corridors that twisted and spiraled unpredictably. Every turn revealed new carvings, new platforms, and strange depressions in the floor that aligned perfectly with the angles of the walls. They discovered small alcoves, each containing polished stones arranged in patterns that mirrored the stars above. The builders had mapped the heavens into the pyramid, capturing celestial arrangements in stone, encoding knowledge that connected the earth and sky in a way that suggested both science and ritual. Hours passed, though time felt distorted. The team barely noticed hunger or fatigue. Their minds were consumed by the mysteries unfolding before them. They began to see patterns in the carvings, a story of a people who had observed the stars, understood forces beyond gravity and magnetism, and used this knowledge to create monuments capable of enduring eons. And yet, despite their brilliance, the builders had vanished, leaving only the stones and their silent, whispering echoes. Finally, they reached a chamber deeper than any before, its ceiling carved with interlocking shapes that seemed to rotate when viewed from different angles. At the center lay a single stone, larger than any they had seen, carved into a smooth oval, its surface etched with intricate glyphs. Anara stepped closer, recognizing the glyphs as a universal pattern repeated in megalithic sites across the globe. Spirals, circles, and lines forming a language older than any known alphabet. The stone was a key, or perhaps a message, designed to communicate with those who could understand, to awaken the knowledge buried within. As she touched the central stone, the vibrations intensified, running through the floor and up the walls. Light seemed to emerge from the carvings themselves, faint but unmistakable. For the first time, Anara felt a connection, not just to the pyramid, but to the builders themselves. They were speaking across millennia, leaving a record of understanding, a legacy meant to endure long after their physical presence had vanished. That night, camped at the pyramid's base, the team could barely sleep. Dreams invaded their minds, visions of towering cities, advanced technologies, and civilizations that predated history by tens of thousands of years. They saw people moving in harmony with the land, constructing monuments aligned with the stars, harnessing forces humans had forgotten. And always, the pyramid loomed, a sentinel and a teacher, silently waiting for those capable of listening. By dawn, Anara understood that the journey had only begun. The pyramid was more than stone. It was a bridge, connecting present humanity to a forgotten past. And somewhere, deeper in its chambers, lay the answers to questions no one had dared ask. Who were the builders? What had they known? And why had they left their knowledge buried, waiting 28,000 years for discovery? The lost civilization was no longer just a story. It was real, and Anara could feel the pulse of its legacy echoing in her bones. The next morning, the mist hung low over the terraces of the pyramid, clinging to the stones like a veil of secrets. Anara and her team returned, hearts still pounding from the visions and vibrations of the previous day. The air was heavy with anticipation, carrying the scent of wet earth and moss, but beneath it, a subtle energy thrummed, a pulse that seemed to echo the heartbeat of the pyramid itself. Every step closer to its core deepened the sense of awe, as if the stones themselves were guiding them toward knowledge long hidden from human eyes. They focused on the central chamber, the one housing the massive oval stone inscribed with glyphs. The team had spent the night cataloging every mark, every spiral, every interlocking line. Anara traced the patterns again, feeling a subtle warmth beneath her fingertips. The glyphs were not merely decorative. They formed sequences, repeating in cycles that suggested language, mathematics, and something else, something that seemed almost alive. It was as if the builders had encoded thought itself into the stone, creating a mechanism of memory capable of surviving tens of thousands of years. The geologist adjusted his instruments, noting fluctuations in magnetic fields that coincided with the carved patterns. "These stones are aligned with the Earth's magnetic field," he whispered. "And not just aligned, tuned. The frequencies they emit, if we could understand them, they might reveal a form of communication, or energy storage, something we don't yet comprehend." Anna nodded, a shiver running down her spine. She had suspected as much, but hearing it articulated made the implications impossible to ignore. They were standing on technology, or knowledge, lost to time, a civilization whose understanding of physics and the cosmos surpassed modern science. Their attention was drawn to a faint doorway, partially hidden behind overgrown roots and debris. It led to a narrow corridor, descending even further into the pyramid's heart. As they approached, the energy readings intensified, and the hum became more pronounced, vibrating through the walls and floor. The stones seemed to respond to their presence, shifting imperceptibly, guiding the explorers deeper into the labyrinth. Anna's pulse quickened. Each step carried the weight of history, each breath a reminder that they were trespassing into a domain no human had entered for tens of millennia. The corridor opened into a vast subterranean hall, far larger than the terraces above could have suggested. Massive pillars rose like giants, carved with spirals, interlocking circles, and patterns that reflected the constellations. Here, the builders had mapped the heavens, preserving celestial knowledge in stone. Anna realized that the pyramid was not merely a monument, but a library, a vault of understanding carefully encoded to endure the erosion of time. The light from their torches danced across the walls, revealing hidden alcoves, each containing clusters of polished stones arranged in sequences that mirrored planetary alignments. The builders had understood astronomy, mathematics, and perhaps even the concept of energy manipulation far beyond what humanity had achieved. At the center of the hall lay another stone, smaller than the oval stone above but equally intricate. Its surface glowed faintly in response to touch, responding to the warmth of human hands. Anna knelt, running her fingers along the carvings. A pulse radiated outward, faint but undeniable, vibrating through the floor and into her chest. The stones seemed to communicate, not with words, but with patterns, frequencies, and vibrations. They were alive in a way that transcended biology, a consciousness encoded into matter itself. Hours passed as the team explored the hall, documenting every feature, recording the sequences of stones and inscriptions. They discovered evidence of ritual, of thought, and of a society capable of harmonizing with forces invisible to modern science. The builders had clearly understood the principles of resonance, of energy flow, and the alignment of matter with the cosmos. It was a knowledge humanity had only begun to rediscover millennia later, and here it had been preserved, hidden beneath the earth for 28,000 years. As they ventured deeper, Anna began to see a pattern, a network of chambers and corridors forming a spiral, echoing the symbols carved into the stones. It was as if the pyramid itself was a mechanism, a device designed to guide those who entered toward understanding, to awaken latent knowledge within the human mind. The thought was both thrilling and terrifying. They were intruding upon a civilization that had anticipated their arrival, that had left instructions embedded in stone for those who could comprehend them. In a small alcove, they found remnants of tools, strangely shaped but precise, carved from stone and bone. Unlike anything in modern archaeological records, they suggested techniques of construction and energy manipulation that defied conventional understanding. Anna ran her hands over the fragments, imagining the people who had crafted them, their minds attuned to forces now forgotten. How had they mastered such skills without the materials and technology available today? It was a question that would haunt her for the rest of her life. The deepest chamber revealed something extraordinary. A stone table etched with diagrams that resembled circuitry, geometric patterns connected by lines of energy. It was a map, perhaps of energy flow or cosmic alignment, linking the pyramid to the stars above. The patterns pulsed faintly, as if powered by the same force that animated the stones throughout the structure. Anara understood, with a mix of exhilaration and fear, that this civilization had not merely built monuments. They had created devices, tools of knowledge and energy, capable of enduring tens of thousands of years. By evening, the team emerged from the pyramid, exhausted but awed. The mist had returned, draping the terraces in a shroud of mystery. The pyramid stood silent, immense, and eternal, its secrets preserved within stone. Anara gazed at the summit, realizing that they had only scratched the surface. The lost civilization of Indonesia had left a legacy that challenged the very foundations of human history, a record of knowledge, technology, and cosmic understanding that demanded patience, respect, and deep exploration. As night fell, the mountains seemed to hum in acknowledgement. In dreams, Anara saw the builders themselves, tall, serene, moving with purpose, crafting stone and energy, leaving a record for those who could listen. Their civilization had vanished, but their wisdom endured, waiting for humanity to awaken to it. And somewhere, deep within the spiral of chambers, more secrets lay in silence, waiting for those who dared to seek them. The pyramid was no longer a mystery to be solved. It was a teacher, a relic of consciousness, a bridge across 28,000 years, calling out to those willing to hear. And Anara knew that tomorrow, and every day after, they would return, following the pulse, the hum, and the whispers of a civilization lost to time but never truly gone. The following morning, the mountain air was alive with anticipation. The mist curled around the pyramid like ghostly fingers, hiding terraces and corridors from view, yet revealing just enough to hint at the magnitude of what lay ahead. Anara and her team prepared to descend once more, their equipment meticulously checked, their minds sharp with the memory of the chambers they had explored. The pyramid no longer felt like stone and earth. It pulsed, a living entity guiding them toward the knowledge buried within. Every footstep, every breath, carried them closer to a truth that had waited 28,000 years to be found. They began with the spiral corridor that led deeper into the pyramid, its walls etched with symbols that seemed to shift subtly under the torchlight. As they progressed, the hum grew louder, vibrating through the floor, the walls, and even the air around them. It was no longer subtle. It was a rhythm, a heartbeat, echoing the pulse of the pyramid itself. The team moved with reverence, their voices hushed, aware that they were not merely observers but participants in something vast, ancient, and beyond comprehension. At the heart of the spiral, they discovered a chamber unlike any before. Its ceiling soared far above, carved into interlocking geometric shapes that caught the torchlight and fractured it into countless angles. The walls were covered with a lattice of symbols, spirals, and lines connecting nodes in patterns that mirrored the stars and planets. The team realized with a shiver that this was more than art. It was a map, a blueprint of the cosmos, encoded in stone by hands far older than history recognized. Anara approached a cluster of stones at the chamber's center, arranged in concentric circles. As she ran her hand across them, the hum intensified, vibrating through her fingertips and into her mind. The patterns seemed to respond to touch, rearranging subtly as if recognizing her presence. The stones were alive, or at least, imbued with a form of consciousness that communicated through energy and frequency. She could feel thoughts or impressions, pulsing faintly, images of the builders, their cities, their knowledge, their understanding of forces unseen. The geologist, fascinated and cautious, noted the alignment of the stones. Their tuned, he murmured. Not just aligned with magnetic fields, but with the rotation of the planet, the position of the sun, and perhaps other celestial bodies. This is engineering and astronomy combined. This civilization understood energy on a level we can barely imagine. The team explored further, finding chambers that hinted at practical applications of this knowledge. Small alcoves contained stone tools shaped with impossibly precise angles, and depressions that suggested mechanisms for generating or directing energy. Some stones were arranged to focus vibrations, magnifying them across distances. Anura could feel a thrill and a chill. These were not merely monuments. They were laboratories, energy conduits, devices built to interact with natural forces, and perhaps even with the human mind itself. One corridor led to a chamber that contained remnants of what could only be described as a control table. It was a flat stone surface covered in etched diagrams and grooves, some forming spirals, others straight lines connecting nodes. When touched, certain stones resonated, sending vibrations along the lines, activating hidden features elsewhere in the pyramid. The team tested it cautiously, realizing that the ancient builders had created a system that manipulated resonance and energy flow. It was a technology lost to time, encoded in stone to endure millennia, waiting for those capable of understanding its principles. As they delved deeper, Anura began to perceive a pattern in the pyramid's design. The spiral corridors, the placement of stones, the alignment with celestial bodies, all suggested that the pyramid functioned as a kind of harmonic machine capable of focusing energy, consciousness, and perhaps even information across vast distances. The builders had been not only architects and engineers but also observers of the cosmos, capable of understanding the universe in ways that modern humans had only begun to glimpse. The local guide added another layer of mystery, recalling stories told by his ancestors. "They say the pyramid listens," he whispered. "It remembers the ones who walk its halls, judging whether they are ready. Some come and leave nothing, others awaken it. The stones choose." Anura felt the weight of his words. Every pulse, every vibration, every response of the stones suggested intentionality, as if the builders had anticipated that centuries later, humans would return to learn, to awaken, to understand. Hours turned into a timeless exploration. Each chamber revealed new knowledge, new evidence of a civilization that had vanished without trace, leaving only its monumental genius encoded in stone. The deeper they went, the more the pyramids seemed to resonate with them, guiding, teaching, awakening understanding in ways that transcended language or modern tools. They were not just uncovering a lost civilization, they were touching a consciousness, a mind encoded in matter, designed to survive the erosion of millennia. At the center of this level of the pyramid, Anura found a chamber with a ceiling carved into spirals that mirrored the movement of the stars above. Here, the builders had created a convergence point, where energy, resonance, and consciousness intersected. Touching the central stone, Anura felt a surge, a connection to the builders themselves, to the knowledge and intent embedded in the structure. Images flashed in her mind, cities of stone and light, towers aligned with the heavens, machines that moved with the rhythm of the earth, people who lived in harmony with forces beyond imagination. Exhausted yet exhilarated, the team emerged as night fell, the mist wrapping the pyramid in its silent embrace. The mountain hummed faintly, a subtle acknowledgement of their presence and progress. Anura gazed at the summit, knowing that every discovery brought them closer to understanding the purpose of this 28,000-year-old structure. It was a library, a laboratory, a conduit, and perhaps a message from a civilization lost to time, waiting for humanity to awaken to its wisdom. As they camped near the base, dreams overtook them, visions of ancient cities, celestial alignments, and technology that transcended modern understanding. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its secrets, and Anara knew with certainty that they were only beginning to scratch the surface. The lost civilization had left its legacy not in artifacts or texts but in resonance, energy, and encoded knowledge, waiting for the right minds, the right hearts, and the right time to awaken once more. The morning air was heavy with mist, the terraces of the pyramid cloaked in a ghostly veil that made the stones appear to float above the jungle floor. Anara and her team returned, their hearts still racing from the previous day's discoveries. Each step up the hillside seemed to reverberate with a quiet energy, as if the pyramid itself acknowledged their presence and beckoned them deeper into its heart. The mist swirled around the terraces, hiding hidden stairways and narrow passages, giving the structure a shifting, almost living appearance. They descended once more into the spiral corridors, following the pathways that had revealed so much already. Every symbol on the walls, every carving, seemed to pulse faintly under the torchlight, as if responding to their touch and presence. The hum that had grown steadily louder with each descent became a steady vibration now, permeating the floor, the walls, and even their very bones. It was no longer subtle, it was commanding, almost guiding them forward. The pyramid was speaking not in words, but in frequencies, patterns, and energies beyond conventional understanding. At the deepest chamber they had reached so far, they discovered a series of alcoves, each containing stones arranged in precise geometric patterns. The shapes mirrored the alignment of celestial bodies, and some of the stones were embedded with grooves that resonated faintly when touched. Anara traced her fingers along the carvings, feeling vibrations pulse through her hand and up her arm. The chamber seemed alive, responsive, almost sentient. She realized with growing awe that these were not just ceremonial spaces, they were tools, machines built to manipulate energy, encode knowledge, and perhaps even communicate with consciousness itself. The geologist moved closer to a cluster of stones, his instruments spiking with data. "These readings are unprecedented," he said in a hushed tone. "The stones are not only magnetic, they resonate at multiple frequencies simultaneously. It's like they're transmitting and receiving energy. Whatever this civilization built, it was far beyond anything we know." His voice trailed off as he examined a series of interlocking grooves in the floor, which seemed to channel the vibrations through the chamber in carefully calculated patterns. The local guide spoke quietly, recounting the tales of his ancestors. "They say the pyramid chooses who may enter," he whispered. "It measures the heart, the mind, the spirit. Those who are not ready find nothing. Those who are, the stones awaken. They guide, they teach, they reveal." Anara felt a shiver run down her spine. The sensation of being chosen, of being recognized by the pyramid itself, was both exhilarating and unnerving. The builders had clearly anticipated discovery, designing their creation not merely as a structure but as a dynamic, interactive entity capable of enduring millennia. Exploring further, they discovered a small chamber connected to the main hall through a narrow passage. Inside, the walls were covered with spirals and interlocking lines forming complex diagrams. In the center lay a flat stone table etched with intricate patterns that resembled circuitry. When touched, certain stones pulsed, sending vibrations through the lines to other parts of the chamber. Anara realized with a mixture of awe and fear that they were witnessing a machine, an ancient device capable of manipulating energy, preserving information, and interacting with human perception. As they examined the chamber, subtle phenomena began to manifest. Shadows seemed to shift independently of the torchlight, and faint luminescence emanated from the carvings on the walls. The hum intensified when multiple team members touched different points simultaneously, suggesting that the structure was responsive to combined human presence. Anara felt a rush of images and impressions, not words, but visions of people, cities, and mechanisms, all perfectly aligned with the cosmos. She saw the builders themselves, tall and serene, moving with deliberate purpose, shaping stones and energy alike, leaving a record for those who would come millennia later. Time became fluid in the pyramid. Hours seemed to stretch into minutes, minutes into hours, as the team navigated corridors that twisted and spiraled deeper into the mountain. Every chamber revealed more evidence of the builder's knowledge. Tools and instruments carved from stone with impossible precision, alcoves aligned with planetary and stellar configurations, and inscriptions that encoded both ritual and science. The lost civilization had mastered resonance, vibration, and energy in ways modern science was only beginning to explore. In one of the deepest chambers yet, they discovered a circular platform surrounded by stones arranged like spokes of a wheel. The center contained a polished, oval stone similar to the one at the upper chamber but smaller. As Anara approached and placed her hands on it, a surge of energy pulsed through the chamber. The walls seemed to respond, the carvings glowing faintly, and the hum reaching a crescendo that resonated in the chest and mind alike. She closed her eyes and felt a connection, as though the pyramid itself was communicating, sharing knowledge encoded in vibration, frequency, and resonance. Images flooded her mind, the pyramid in its prime, alive with activity, people moving in harmony with the forces of the earth and cosmos, machines and tools channeling energy, cities aligned with stars. The visions were overwhelming, yet coherent, as if the builders had left not just artifacts but instructions, a map of knowledge preserved in stone and vibration. The realization struck Anara with full force. This civilization had vanished physically, but their consciousness endured in the pyramid, awaiting those capable of understanding. By evening, the team emerged from the pyramid, exhausted yet invigorated. The mist enveloped the terraces, wrapping the structure in silence and mystery. The pyramid loomed vast and eternal, a sentinel guarding secrets 28,000 years old. Anara gazed up at the summit, knowing that every discovery brought them closer to comprehending the purpose of this ancient structure. It was a library, a laboratory, a bridge across millennia, and a message from a civilization whose wisdom humanity had nearly forgotten. As night fell, dreams claimed the team. They saw towers of stone and light, energy flowing in harmony with the earth, and people attuned to forces long lost to human memory. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its secrets, and Anara knew with certainty that they had only begun to scratch the surface. The lost civilization had left a legacy encoded in resonance, energy, and consciousness itself, waiting for humanity to awaken once more. The air that morning was thick with mist, the terraces of the pyramid glistening as droplets of condensation clung to every stone. Anara and her team prepared to re-enter the ancient structure, their anticipation palpable. The discoveries so far had left them in awe. Yet each revelation carried a subtle tension, a sense that they were approaching knowledge far beyond human comprehension. The pyramid no longer seemed inert. It thrummed with energy, responding to their presence as if it had waited 28,000 years for them to return. Descending the spiral corridors, the hum of the stones grew steadily stronger. Each step sent vibrations coursing through the floors and walls, a rhythm that synchronized subtly with their own heartbeats. The team moved cautiously, aware that they were entering deeper into a realm that defied the boundaries of conventional archaeology. Symbols on the walls pulsed faintly, intricate glyphs and geometric patterns that seemed alive, interacting with light and presence in ways that challenged perception. Anara felt a strange exhilaration, mixed with reverence. This was not just exploration, it was communion with an intelligence encoded into stone. In one of the upper chambers, the team noticed that the alignment of certain stones had shifted slightly since their last visit. The phenomenon was subtle, barely perceptible, yet unmistakable. The geologist ran his instruments over the surfaces, his eyes widening as magnetic fields spiked in unusual patterns. "It's almost like the stones respond to us," he murmured. "They're not static. They're dynamic and intelligent in a way we can't explain." Anara nodded, a shiver running down her spine. Each new discovery reinforced the sense that this pyramid was a living record, designed not merely to endure time, but to interact with those who approached it with curiosity, patience, and understanding. Following the spiral deeper, they entered a chamber that radiated a subtle warmth. The walls were etched with intricate interlocking circles, spirals, and nodes that seemed to form a three-dimensional map of energy. At the center, a polished stone platform reflected torchlight, and the carvings on its surface pulsed faintly in response to touch. Anara stepped forward, placing her hands upon it. The vibrations surged through her arms, up her spine, and into her mind, bringing a cascade of impressions. Visions of the builders, their technology, their rituals, and the harmony with natural and cosmic forces that had defined their civilization. The images were overwhelming. She saw massive cities, constructed with geometric precision, aligned with celestial movements, machines that harnessed resonance and energy flows, and people moving in coordinated understanding of forces that humanity had long forgotten. The pyramid itself was part of this system, a device designed to focus and amplify knowledge, energy, and consciousness. Every stone, every corridor, every alignment contributed to a larger function that was both architectural and metaphysical. The team explored the chamber meticulously. Small alcoves contained carved implements, whose shapes suggested advanced understanding of energy conduction and vibration. Grooves on the floor and walls aligned precisely with the celestial patterns etched into the stones, creating pathways for energy to flow through the structure. The geologists speculated that the builders had harnessed natural vibrations of the earth, amplifying them through the pyramid to create measurable effects, a technology that blended science, spirituality, and consciousness in a way modern humans could barely conceive. As they moved deeper, subtle phenomena intensified. Shadows danced independently of their light sources, and faint luminescent glows appeared along carvings previously unnoticed. The hum resonated differently in each chamber, sometimes harmonious, sometimes discordant, suggesting an awareness of their presence. Anara felt a growing connection, a sense that the pyramid was guiding them, revealing its structure and purpose gradually, teaching them through resonance and experience rather than words or text. At the heart of the spiral, they discovered a chamber that defied expectations. The ceiling was carved into interlocking spirals that mirrored cosmic movements, and the floor contained a complex lattice of grooves and nodes. In the center lay a stone orb, polished to perfection, etched with symbols that seemed to shift subtly when observed from different angles. Anara reached out and touched it. Instantly, a surge of energy pulsed through the chamber, and visions overwhelmed her senses. Images of the builders manipulating energy fields, coordinating monumental construction projects, observing the stars, and recording their understanding in stone. The experience left her breathless, yet with a profound sense of clarity. The pyramid was not merely a relic. It was a repository of knowledge, a bridge between human consciousness and the understanding of forces that spanned earth, sky, and perhaps beyond. The lost civilization had encoded their wisdom in ways that required interaction, perception, and intuition to access. A system designed to endure millennia, yet reveal itself only to those ready to comprehend it. As they exited the chamber, night had fallen, and the pyramid stood in solemn silence, cloaked in mist. The jungle beyond was quiet, as if even nature paused in respect for the ancient structure. Dreams claimed the team that night, visions of radiant cities, harmonic energy flows, and people in perfect synchrony with the cosmos. The pyramid had revealed new truths, yet hinted at deeper mysteries still hidden. Anara knew, with growing certainty, that this was only the beginning. The civilization that built the 28,000-year-old pyramid had left a legacy encoded in energy, resonance, and consciousness itself, waiting for humanity to awaken to it, step by step, chamber by chamber, heartbeat by heartbeat. The morning fog clung thickly to the slopes of the pyramid, wrapping the terraces in a veil of mystery. Anara and her team returned, their equipment carefully checked, their minds alert and buzzing with anticipation. Every step toward the pyramid seemed charged, as if the stones themselves recognized their intent. The mist swirled in unpredictable patterns, making the terraces appear to float, hiding stairways and corridors that had yet to be explored. It was a reminder that the pyramid was not merely stone, but a living, breathing structure, patiently awaiting those willing to uncover its deepest secrets. They descended the familiar spiral corridor, but the hum of the stones had grown more insistent, resonating through the floors and walls like a heartbeat. The team moved cautiously, aware that each step drew them closer to chambers untouched for tens of thousands of years. Symbols on the walls glowed faintly in response to their presence, spirals and geometric patterns shifting subtly, as if alive. Anara could feel a strange pull in her chest, a magnetic tug that seemed to guide her deeper into the pyramid. She realized that the structure itself was not random. Every passage, every alignment, was intentional, designed to teach and reveal gradually. At the end of the spiral, they found a chamber they had not yet seen. Its ceiling soared high, carved with interlocking spirals and circles that reflected torchlight in fragmented patterns. The walls were covered in complex diagrams connecting stars, planets, and energy nodes. At the center lay a stone table etched with concentric circles and lines that pulsed faintly in response to touch. When Anara placed her hands on the surface, vibrations surged through her arms, traveling up her spine and embedding impressions directly into her mind. She saw visions of cities, energy flowing through monuments, and people who had mastered forces humanity had long forgotten. The chamber revealed more than just knowledge. It hinted at function. Small alcoves contained stone tools shaped with impossible precision, grooves in the floor and walls aligned perfectly with the celestial etchings. The geologist examined them closely, noting that certain arrangements could focus vibrations and channel energy across distances. "This is not ritual," he murmured. "It's engineering, energy manipulation, and cosmic alignment all in one." They were using the pyramid as a machine. The team pressed onward, discovering a narrow passage leading to a deeper hall. Here, the phenomena intensified. Shadows moved independently of their torchlight, and faint glimmers of luminescence danced along the carvings. The hum had become a resonance, rhythmic, almost like a language or pulse designed to communicate with those attuned. Anara felt a growing awareness, as if the pyramid itself was testing them, guiding them through experience rather than words. The deeper they went, the more the chambers seemed to anticipate their presence, revealing patterns that responded to touch, intention, and perhaps even thought. In one chamber, they discovered a circular platform surrounded by intricately carved stones, forming a wheel-like pattern. The center contained a polished oval stone, etched with glyphs that shifted subtly when observed from different angles. As Anara placed her hands upon it, the vibrations surged through the floor, walls, and even the air itself. Images flooded her consciousness, the builders moving in perfect harmony, cities radiating with energy, machines aligned with celestial bodies, and rituals that synchronized human activity with cosmic cycles. The pyramid was alive with knowledge, encoded not just in stone but in vibration, resonance, and consciousness itself. Time lost meaning as they moved from chamber to chamber. Hours felt like minutes, and minutes stretched into what seemed like centuries. Every discovery reinforced the realization that the pyramid was not just a monument but a dynamic system, a repository of technology, understanding, and consciousness preserved across 28,000 years. The builders had encoded their knowledge in a way that demanded participation, intuition, and perception. Only through engagement could the pyramid reveal its secrets, step by step, chamber by chamber. At the deepest point they had reached so far, a massive chamber unfolded, unlike any previous space. The ceiling was a complex lattice of spirals and interlocking geometric shapes, reflecting torchlight in a manner that made the patterns appear to rotate. The floor contained grooves and nodes forming a complex, circuit-like pattern. At the center rested a perfectly polished orb etched with shifting glyphs. When touched, the entire chamber seemed to awaken. The carvings glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of the builders, their knowledge, and their cities overwhelmed the senses. The experience left Anura breathless. The pyramid was a bridge across millennia, preserving not just artifacts or structures, but the very understanding and consciousness of a lost civilization. The 28,000-year-old builders had mastered forces humanity had long since forgotten, encoding them in stone to endure the test of time. Their legacy was not static. It was interactive, waiting for those capable of perceiving, understanding, and awakening it. By the time the team emerged into the cool night air, the mist had thickened, shrouding the pyramid in silence. The jungle beyond was still, as if holding its breath. Dreams claimed the team that night, visions of radiant cities, harmonic energy flows, and people attuned to forces beyond human understanding. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its wisdom, but deeper mysteries awaited. Anura understood with certainty that their journey had only begun, and that the lost civilization's knowledge, encoded in resonance and consciousness, would continue to unfold as they ventured further into its depths. The morning mist clung to the pyramid terraces like a living shroud, the stones glistening with dew as Anura and her team prepared to enter once more. Each step toward the structure carried a weight of anticipation. They were no longer merely exploring, but responding to an intelligence embedded in the mountain itself. The hum that had accompanied them since the first chamber now resonated more clearly, pulsing through the ground, the walls, and even the air, as if the pyramid itself acknowledged their return. Descending the spiral corridors, the team noticed subtle changes. Symbols and glyphs that had seemed static now shimmered faintly, lines and shapes twisting as though reacting to their presence. The hum intensified when multiple team members touched different stones simultaneously, suggesting the structure responded to human interaction. Anura felt a strange warmth in her chest, a subtle vibration syncing with her heartbeat, reinforcing the growing awareness that the pyramid was not inert stone, but a conscious, interactive entity. At the heart of the spiral, they entered a chamber previously unnoticed. Its ceiling soared impossibly high, carved with interlocking spirals and geometric designs that fractured the torchlight into dazzling patterns. The walls were etched with sequences of glyphs, lines, and nodes that mirrored constellations and planetary movements. In the center, a stone table etched with concentric circles and grooves pulsed faintly under Anura's touch. The vibrations surged through her hands, up her spine, embedding impressions directly into her mind. She glimpsed visions of the builders manipulating energy, coordinating monumental constructions, and living in harmony with forces beyond modern understanding. The team discovered alcoves filled with polished stones arranged in sequences that aligned perfectly with the celestial diagrams on the walls. The geologist observed that certain stone arrangements could amplify or focus vibrations, channeling energy through the pyramid structure. "This is not just architecture," he whispered. "It's a machine, an energy conduit that works with resonance, vibration, and alignment with the cosmos." They understood forces we're only beginning to perceive. The deeper they ventured, the more anomalous phenomena appeared. Shadows moved independently of light sources, faint luminescence glimmered along carvings, and the hum shifted rhythmically, almost like a language or signal. Anura felt that the pyramid was guiding them, testing their perception and intuition. Every corridor and chamber was designed to awaken understanding incrementally, revealing its secrets gradually to those capable of perceiving them. In one chamber, they encountered a circular platform surrounded by stones forming a wheel-like pattern. At the center rested a polished oval stone etched with shifting glyphs. As Anura placed her hands upon it, the vibrations intensified, reverberating throughout the chamber. Images flooded her mind, radiant cities, energy flowing in harmony with the earth, and people attuned to forces beyond human comprehension. The pyramid was not only a repository of knowledge but an interactive system designed to transmit understanding directly to those who engaged with it. Time became fluid within the pyramid. Hours felt like minutes, and minutes stretched into hours, as the team explored corridors that twisted in ways that defied geometry. Every discovery reinforced the realization that the pyramid was dynamic, a living record, a bridge between human consciousness and ancient understanding, preserved for tens of thousands of years. The builders had anticipated interaction, embedding their knowledge in patterns, energy flows, and resonance that required intuition and perception to access. At the deepest point they reached, the chamber opened into a massive hall, far larger than the terraces above could have suggested. The ceiling formed interlocking spirals and stars, creating the impression of a cosmos captured in stone. The floor was a lattice of grooves and nodes, forming a complex energy circuit. In the center lay a polished orb etched with symbols that shifted when observed from different angles. As Anura touched it, the chamber pulsed with energy. The walls glowed faintly, vibrations intensified, and visions of the builders, their technology, and their cities filled her mind. The experience left Anura breathless. The pyramid was more than a structure. It was an archive of consciousness, a bridge across millennia. The civilization that had built it had mastered energy, resonance, and consciousness in ways humanity had long forgotten. Their legacy endured not in mere artifacts, but in living, interactive systems encoded in stone. By the time the team emerged into the night air, the mist had thickened, wrapping the pyramid in a silent embrace. The jungle beyond was quiet, as if observing and respecting the ancient site. Dreams claimed the team, visions of harmonic cities, flowing energy, and people attuned to cosmic cycles. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its wisdom, yet hinted at deeper mysteries still hidden. Anura knew that the journey had only just begun, and the lost civilization's knowledge, encoded in energy and consciousness, awaited further awakening. The morning fog draped the pyramid like a ghostly shroud, hiding its terraces and stairways from view. Anura and her team returned, their anticipation heightened after the revelations of previous explorations. Each step toward the pyramid seemed charged with unseen energy. The stones hummed faintly underfoot, resonating in harmony with the team's collective presence. The mist swirled unpredictably, hinting at hidden passages and corridors still waiting to be discovered, emphasizing that the pyramid was more than stone. It was an entity, patient, aware, and alive. Descending into the spiral corridors, the hum intensified, vibrating through the walls, floors, and even the very air around them. Symbols that had appeared static now shimmered, shifting subtly in response to movement, light, and touch. The team felt a growing sense of guidance, as if the pyramid itself was leading them deeper into its heart. Anura sensed a magnetic pull, an almost conscious force drawing them toward chambers that had remained untouched for tens of thousands of years. Each step seemed to synchronize with the subtle rhythm of the structure, reinforcing that they were engaging with something beyond ordinary architecture. They entered a chamber they had previously overlooked. Its ceiling soared above them, intricately carved with spirals, interlocking circles, and geometric motifs that fractured their torchlight into dazzling patterns. The walls were covered in sequences of glyphs, interwoven lines, and nodes that mirrored planetary alignments and celestial bodies. At the center lay a stone table etched with concentric circles and grooves that pulsed faintly under Anara's touch. Vibrations surged through her arms and spine, embedding impressions into her mind, visions of the builders channeling energy, coordinating construction, and living in harmony with the cosmic forces that surrounded them. Small alcoves in the chamber contained polished stones arranged in precise sequences. The geologist observed that certain arrangements could focus and amplify vibrations, channeling energy throughout the pyramid. "This is engineering, ritual, and cosmic alignment combined," he whispered. They were using the pyramid as a machine to manipulate energy and perhaps consciousness itself. Anara felt a thrill mixed with awe. They were witnessing technology encoded in stone, designed to endure for tens of thousands of years, and to interact with those capable of perceiving it. As they ventured deeper, anomalous phenomena intensified. Shadows flickered independently of light, faint luminescent glows traced along carvings, and the hum shifted rhythmically, like a language or code waiting to be understood. The pyramid seemed to test them, revealing patterns that responded not only to touch but to intent and perception. It was as if the structure was teaching, guiding the team to awaken an understanding that transcended conventional knowledge. In a circular chamber, stones formed a wheel-like pattern around a central polished oval stone etched with shifting glyphs. When Anara touched it, vibrations surged, reverberating throughout the chamber. Visions flooded her mind, radiant cities, energy flowing harmoniously with the earth, and people attuned to forces beyond ordinary comprehension. The pyramid was not only a repository of knowledge but a dynamic system designed to transmit understanding directly to those who engaged with it. Time seemed to lose meaning. Hours felt like minutes as the team navigated twisting corridors and expansive halls, each discovery reinforcing the realization that the pyramid was a living archive, a bridge between human consciousness and ancient understanding. The builders had anticipated interaction, embedding knowledge in resonance and geometry, requiring intuition and perception to access. At the deepest point yet, they entered a colossal hall with a ceiling formed of interlocking spirals and stars, giving the impression of a captured cosmos. The floor contained a lattice of grooves and nodes forming a complex energy circuit. In the center rested a polished orb etched with symbols that shifted depending on the angle of observation. As Anara touched it, the chamber seemed to awaken. Carvings glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of the builders, their cities, and their energy systems overwhelmed the senses. The experience left Anara and the team in awe. The pyramid was more than architecture. It was a bridge across millennia, preserving consciousness, technology, and understanding in ways modern science could scarcely comprehend. The 28,000-year-old civilization had encoded knowledge in energy, resonance, and perception, waiting for humanity to awaken it. By the time they emerged into the cool night air, the mist had thickened, wrapping the pyramid in silent reverence. The jungle beyond was still, as if observing the sacred site. Dreams claimed the team, visions of cities harmonized with energy, flowing currents of light, and people attuned to cosmic forces. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its wisdom but hinted at even deeper mysteries. Anara knew that their journey was only beginning, and that the lost civilization's legacy, encoded in consciousness and energy, awaited further awakening. The morning mist clung thickly to the terraces of the pyramid, each stone glistening like wet metal in the dim light. Anara and her team approached silently, their anticipation almost tangible. The pyramid's hum, subtle at first, had grown into a low, resonant vibration that seemed to pulse through the ground and into their very bones. It was no longer merely a structure. They felt as though they were approaching a consciousness encoded in stone, patient, ancient, and aware of their presence. Descending the spiral corridors, the air seemed charged with energy. Symbols on the walls shimmered faintly, twisting in ways imperceptible at first, but unmistakably responsive. The team moved cautiously, aware that each step took them deeper into a living archive. The hum resonated differently in each corridor, suggesting that the pyramid was not uniform but a network of interconnected chambers, each with a unique frequency and purpose. Anara sensed a magnetic pull, guiding them towards sections of the structure that had remained untouched for tens of thousands of years. They entered a chamber previously overlooked, its ceiling soaring impossibly high and carved with intricate spirals and interlocking geometric designs. The walls were etched with sequences of symbols, lines, and nodes that mirrored celestial alignments. At the center lay a stone table, etched with concentric circles and grooves that pulsed faintly when touched. Anara placed her hands upon it, and the vibrations surged through her arms, spine, and mind. Visions flooded her consciousness, builders channeling energy, coordinating monumental projects, and synchronizing their lives with cosmic forces. Small alcoves held polished stones arranged in precise patterns. The geologist examined them carefully, noting how certain arrangements focused or amplified vibrations, channeling energy across the chamber. "This is not just ritual or art," he whispered. "It's engineering, resonance, and cosmic alignment combined." They were manipulating energy and perhaps even consciousness. Anara shivered. The pyramid was not merely a repository of artifacts. It was a machine, a conduit of knowledge and energy designed to survive millennia and interact with those capable of perceiving it. Deeper corridors revealed phenomena that defied logic. Shadows flickered independently of their light, faint luminescent glows traced the carvings, and the hum shifted rhythmically, like a language. The pyramid seemed to test them, responding to intent, touch, and perhaps thought. Every chamber was a lesson, revealing understanding incrementally, demanding perception and intuition. One circular chamber drew their attention. Stones formed a wheel-like pattern around a central polished oval stone etched with shifting glyphs. As Anara touched it, the vibrations surged, reverberating through the chamber. Images cascaded into her mind, radiant cities, energy flowing harmoniously with the earth, and people in tune with forces humanity had long forgotten. The pyramid was alive with knowledge, transmitting understanding directly to those willing to engage. Time began to lose meaning. Hours stretched, minutes blurred, and perceptions shifted. Each corridor, each chamber seemed to bend the senses, revealing more than the physical structure. The pyramid was not just a monument. It was a machine capable of manipulating perception, perhaps even consciousness itself. At the deepest chamber yet, the ceiling formed a lattice of spirals, interlocking stars, and geometric designs, giving the illusion of the cosmos captured in stone. The floor contained a network of grooves and nodes forming a complex energy circuit. At the center rested a polished orb etched with symbols that shifted with perspective. When Anara touched it, the chamber pulsed with energy. The walls glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of the builders, their cities, and energy systems overwhelmed her senses. The experience left them breathless. The pyramid was a bridge across 28,000 years, preserving consciousness, technology, and knowledge beyond modern comprehension. The lost civilization had encoded their understanding in resonance, energy, and perception, awaiting humanity's awakening. As night fell, the pyramid stood silent, mist swirling around it, the jungle holding its breath. Dreams overtook the team, visions of harmonic cities, flowing currents of energy, and people attuned to cosmic cycles. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its wisdom, yet deeper secrets remained hidden. Anura understood that this was only the beginning. The lost civilization's ultimate legacy lay ahead, waiting to awaken the minds and senses of those who dared to seek it. The mist hung heavy over the pyramid terraces that morning, wrapping the ancient structure in a cloak of mystery. Anura and her team approached silently, each footstep accompanied by the low, resonant hum that seemed to emanate from the stones themselves. The vibration had grown more pronounced in recent explorations, almost as if the pyramid recognized their presence and welcomed them deeper into its hidden chambers. Each terrace, each step, carried the weight of millennia, and yet the stones seemed alive, vibrating with a consciousness that transcended human understanding. Descending the spiral corridors, the team felt the structure responding to them. Symbols on the walls shifted imperceptibly, geometric patterns realigning subtly under their gaze. The hum grew more complex, resonating at frequencies that seemed to interact with their own nervous systems. Anura felt a peculiar synchrony, as though her heartbeat and the pyramid's pulse were entwined. Every corridor led them further into an architecture designed not merely to endure but to awaken. This was a place where consciousness and stone intertwined, teaching through interaction rather than text or spoken language. They entered a previously undiscovered chamber, its ceiling soaring impossibly high, carved with interlocking spirals and circular motifs reflecting torchlight into fractured brilliance. The walls were etched with sequences of glyphs and nodes forming an intricate map, one that mirrored celestial alignments and energy flows. At the center lay a stone table with concentric grooves that pulsed when touched. Anura placed her hands upon it, and a surge of vibration coursed through her, embedding impressions directly into her mind. She glimpsed visions of the builders channeling energy through monumental constructions, observing the stars, and aligning human activity with cosmic forces. Small alcoves revealed polished stones arranged in precise sequences. The geologist examined them meticulously, noting that the patterns could focus and amplify vibrations, directing energy through the pyramid with exact precision. "This isn't just architecture or ritual," he whispered. "It's energy manipulation, a machine designed to harmonize with the cosmos and possibly with consciousness itself." Anura shivered as she absorbed the implications. The pyramid was interactive, alive in its design, and capable of awakening understanding in those who approached it with curiosity and intention. As they delved deeper, the anomalous phenomena intensified. Shadows moved independently of light, luminescent patterns danced along carvings, and the hum shifted in rhythmic sequences. The structure seemed to test them, revealing information only when perception, focus, and intuition were engaged. Every chamber was a lesson, a gradual unveiling of knowledge encoded in geometry, resonance, and energy patterns. One chamber in particular drew their attention. A circular platform was surrounded by stones forming a wheel-like pattern. At the center rested a polished oval stone etched with shifting glyphs. When Anura touched it, vibrations surged through the chamber, images cascading into her mind, radiant cities, energy flows synchronized with the earth, and people operating in harmony with forces beyond ordinary comprehension. The pyramid was alive with knowledge, transmitting understanding directly to those who could engage with it. Time began to behave differently. Hours stretched, minutes compressed, and their perception shifted as the corridors and chambers seemed to bend reality subtly. The pyramid was not merely a monument. It was a device capable of influencing perception, memory, and consciousness itself. The builders had embedded mechanisms that allowed humans to experience knowledge directly, bypassing conventional senses and linear thought. At the deepest chamber yet, the ceiling formed a lattice of interlocking spirals, stars, and geometric forms, giving the impression of a captured cosmos. The floor contained a complex network of grooves and nodes, creating an energy circuit. In the center lay a polished orb etched with shifting symbols. As Anara placed her hands upon it, the chamber pulsed with energy. The walls glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of the builders, their technology, and cities overwhelmed her senses. She realized the pyramid's purpose was multidimensional, a repository of knowledge, an energy machine, and a medium for consciousness to interact with space, time, and human perception. The team emerged into the night air, exhausted and awed. The pyramid stood silent, mist swirling around its terraces, the jungle seemingly holding its breath. Dreams overtook them, visions of cities resonating with harmonic energy, machines moving in synchrony with the earth, and humans attuned to forces beyond understanding. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its secrets, but deeper mysteries remained. Anara understood that their journey was only beginning, and that the ultimate legacy of this 28,000-year-old civilization awaited those willing to engage fully with its wisdom. The morning mist clung heavily to the terraces of the pyramid, each stone glistening with dew as Anara and her team approached. The low hum of the structure greeted them like a heartbeat, vibrating through the earth, through their boots, and deep into their bones. It was no longer subtle. It resonated with intensity, pulsing as if aware of their presence, guiding them further into the ancient mystery. The pyramid was alive, patient, and filled with knowledge that had waited 28,000 years for the right minds to unlock it. Descending the spiral corridors, the team noticed the subtle shifts in the symbols on the walls. Geometric patterns shimmered faintly, lines realigning in response to their movement. The hum changed in tone and frequency depending on where they walked, suggesting an interactive network of energy flowing throughout the structure. Anara felt a connection, a synchrony, as if her heartbeat and the pyramid's pulse were entwined. Each corridor was designed to awaken perception incrementally, to prepare those who entered for the knowledge hidden within its depths. In a chamber they had not yet explored, the ceiling soared high, carved with interlocking spirals, concentric circles, and intricate geometric shapes. The walls were etched with nodes, lines, and symbols forming maps of celestial alignments and energy pathways. At the center was a polished stone table with grooves arranged in precise concentric circles. As Anara touched it, the vibrations surged into her body, embedding impressions into her consciousness. She saw visions of the builders harnessing energy, coordinating monumental constructions, and living in harmony with cosmic forces, their understanding of matter and consciousness far surpassing modern science. Small alcoves revealed polished stones arranged in complex patterns. The geologist observed them meticulously, noting that the arrangements focused and amplified vibrations, channeling energy through the pyramid in ways that suggested sophisticated engineering. "This isn't mere ritual or artistry," he whispered. "It's a machine." They manipulated energy, consciousness, perhaps even time itself. Anara shivered, understanding that they were not simply observing a structure, but interacting with a living archive of knowledge. As they explored deeper corridors, phenomena intensified. Shadows flickered independently of their torches, luminescent patterns appeared along carvings, and the hum shifted rhythmically, as if communicating in a language beyond sound. The pyramid seemed to test their perception, revealing its secrets only when they engaged fully with its resonance. Each chamber was a lesson, a gateway, gradually unveiling knowledge encoded in vibration, geometry, and energy. One chamber drew them in completely. Stones formed a wheel-like pattern around a central polished oval, etched with glyphs that shifted subtly when observed from different angles. When Anara touched it, the vibrations surged, and visions overwhelmed her. Radiant cities harmonized with energy flows, machines operating in sync with natural forces, and humans attuned to cosmic cycles. The pyramid was not merely a repository of knowledge. It was a medium for consciousness itself. Time and memory began to behave strangely. Within this chamber, minutes felt like hours, and past experiences seemed to overlay the present. The pyramid appeared capable of influencing perception and memory, allowing the builder's wisdom to be experienced directly rather than read or observed. Anura realized that the stones did not merely store knowledge. They transmitted it, bypassing ordinary sensory perception and engaging the mind on a deeper, energetic level. At the core of the spiral, the deepest chamber revealed itself. The ceiling was a lattice of spirals and interlocking stars, reflecting torchlight in a way that gave the illusion of a captured cosmos. The floor was a network of grooves and nodes, forming an energy circuit. In the center lay a polished orb etched with shifting symbols. As Anura touched it, energy surged through the chamber. The walls glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of the builder's cities, machines, and energy systems overwhelmed her senses. She understood that the pyramid was a bridge across millennia, preserving knowledge, consciousness, and technology far beyond anything humanity had yet conceived. Emerging into the night, the team was silent, each lost in thought. The pyramid stood stoic and majestic, the mist swirling around its terraces. The jungle beyond was still, seemingly aware of the secrets held within. Dreams overtook the team, visions of cities resonating with harmonic energy, machines moving with the planet, and people fully attuned to cosmic forces. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its secrets, but even deeper mysteries awaited discovery. Anura understood that the journey had only begun. The lost civilization's ultimate legacy, encoded in energy, consciousness, and perception, awaited those ready to awaken fully to it. The morning mist lay thick across the pyramid, curling around terraces and stairways, giving the ancient structure an otherworldly aura. Anura and her team approached with careful reverence, acutely aware that every step brought them closer to secrets that had slumbered for 28,000 years. The familiar hum of the pyramid vibrated through the ground, syncing subtly with their own heartbeats. This was no longer a mere excavation. It was an encounter with a consciousness encoded in stone, a mind that had endured millennia, patient and observant. Descending the spiral corridors, the team noticed the symbols on the walls responding more distinctly than ever before. Geometric patterns shimmered and shifted, lines bending subtly as if acknowledging their presence. The hum had taken on a rhythmic cadence, almost communicative, echoing off walls and floors in ways that seemed to test their perception. Anura felt the pull of the pyramid, guiding them toward chambers untouched for thousands of generations. Every corridor was a lesson, a conduit designed to awaken awareness rather than simply display artifacts. They entered a previously hidden chamber whose ceiling soared impossibly high, etched with interlocking spirals and concentric circles that fractured torchlight into kaleidoscopic patterns. The walls were mapped with symbols, nodes, and lines reflecting planetary alignments and cosmic energy flows. In the center stood a polished stone table with grooves that pulsed faintly under touch. As Anura placed her hands upon it, vibrations surged through her arms and spine, embedding visions directly into her consciousness. The builders manipulating energy, coordinating massive constructions, and living in perfect harmony with forces unseen by modern science. Small alcoves revealed polished stones arranged in sequences that focused and amplified vibrations. The geologist examined them in awe. "This is engineering and consciousness manipulation combined," he whispered. "They created a machine, a system that harnesses energy, perception, and perhaps reality itself." Anura shivered, realizing that the pyramid was not merely a repository of knowledge but an interactive archive that demanded engagement and intuition. As they advanced deeper, anomalies became more pronounced. Shadows flickered independently of light, luminescent symbols glimmered along walls, and the hum shifted in complex patterns. The pyramid seemed to respond not just to touch but to thought and intent. Each chamber revealed more sophisticated lessons, gradually unveiling knowledge encoded in vibration, geometry, and resonance. One chamber in particular captivated them. Stones were arranged in a wheel-like pattern around a central polished oval etched with shifting glyphs. When Anara placed her hands upon it, the vibrations intensified, and she experienced a cascade of visions, radiant cities aligned with harmonic energy flows, machines operating in perfect synchrony with planetary movements, and humans attuned to forces beyond ordinary perception. The pyramid was alive, transmitting understanding directly to the mind of those capable of receiving it. Time and memory began to distort subtly. Within this chamber, minutes stretched into hours, and memories, some not their own, intertwined with present experiences. The pyramid appeared capable of influencing perception, memory, and perhaps even physical reality. Anara realized that the builders had encoded mechanisms allowing humans to experience knowledge directly, bypassing conventional senses and linear thought. This was education at a fundamental, conscious level, an interactive blueprint of reality itself. At the core of the spiral, the deepest chamber awaited. Its ceiling formed a lattice of stars and spirals, the floor a network of grooves and nodes forming an energy circuit. In the center rested a polished orb etched with glyphs that shifted with perspective. As Anara touched it, energy pulsed through the chamber. The walls glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of cities, machines, and energy systems overwhelmed her senses. She understood that the pyramid functioned as a multidimensional archive, preserving consciousness, technology, and perception for tens of thousands of years. Exiting into the night, the team was silent, their minds reeling from what they had experienced. Mist swirled around the pyramid, shrouding it in quiet majesty. The jungle beyond seemed to pause in respect. Dreams overtook them, visions of cities harmonized with energy, currents of light flowing through machines, and people attuned to cosmic forces. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its wisdom, but deeper mysteries remained hidden. Anara understood with clarity. The journey was only beginning, and the lost civilization's ultimate legacy, technology, consciousness, and energy mastery, awaited those who dared to awaken it fully. The pyramid terraces were shrouded in thick morning mist, each stone glinting like polished metal. Anara and her team approached with a quiet intensity, aware that every step brought them closer to secrets that had lain dormant for 28,000 years. The low hum of the pyramid had grown stronger, resonating through the earth and into their very bones. It was no longer merely a structure. It was a consciousness embedded in stone, patient, observant, and alive, waiting for those willing to engage with it fully. Descending the spiral corridors, the team noticed the symbols and geometric patterns on the walls responding more dynamically than ever. Lines shifted, spirals seemed to expand and contract subtly, and the hum pulsed in rhythmic cadences, as though communicating. Anara felt the magnetic pull of the pyramid guiding them toward chambers untouched for millennia. Each corridor was not only a passage but a lesson, designed to awaken perception, intuition, and understanding rather than simply present artifacts. They entered a chamber previously unexplored. Its ceiling soared high, carved with intricate interlocking spirals, concentric circles, and patterns that fractured torchlight into brilliant, shifting reflections. The walls were etched with nodes and lines forming cosmic maps and energy pathways. At the center stood a polished stone table with grooves arranged in precise concentric circles. As Anara touched it, vibrations surged into her body, embedding visions directly into her mind. the builders channeling energy, coordinating colossal constructions, and living in perfect harmony with cosmic forces. Alcoves along the walls contained polished stones arranged in complex sequences. The geologist examined them carefully, noting how they focused and amplified vibrations, channeling energy across the chamber and beyond. "This is not mere ritual," he whispered. "It's a system, a machine that manipulates energy, consciousness, perhaps even reality itself." Anara shivered, understanding that the pyramid was interactive, alive in its design, and capable of awakening understanding in those who approached it with awareness and intent. As they progressed deeper, anomalous phenomena intensified. Shadows flickered independently of their torches, faint luminescent patterns traced the carvings, and the hum shifted rhythmically, sometimes harmonious, sometimes discordant. The pyramid seemed to respond not only to touch but to thought, observation, and intention. Each chamber revealed increasingly sophisticated mechanisms, gradually unveiling knowledge encoded in geometry, resonance, and energy flow. One chamber drew them inexorably. Stones were arranged in a wheel-like pattern around a polished oval stone etched with shifting glyphs. When Anara placed her hands upon it, vibrations surged through the chamber. Images cascaded into her consciousness. Radiant cities harmonized with energy flows, massive machines synchronized with planetary movements, and humans fully attuned to forces beyond ordinary perception. The pyramid transmitted understanding directly, bypassing conventional senses. Time and memory began to behave differently. Minutes stretched and compressed unpredictably, and Anara experienced overlays of visions, memories not her own, events from the pyramid's history, and glimpses of the civilization's energy systems. The structure seemed to manipulate perception itself, allowing knowledge to be experienced directly. The builders had created a medium where energy, consciousness, and understanding could merge, forming a direct bridge between their world and anyone attuned to it. At the core of the spiral, they reached a chamber that radiated overwhelming energy. Its ceiling was a lattice of stars and spirals. The floor formed a complex network of grooves and nodes, creating a multidimensional energy circuit. At the center rested a polished orb etched with shifting symbols. When Anara touched it, the entire chamber pulsed with energy. The walls glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of cities, machines, and energy conduits flooded her consciousness. The pyramid was a multidimensional archive, a machine that had preserved consciousness, technology, and perception for 28,000 years. Emerging into the night, the team was silent, each grappling with the magnitude of what they had experienced. Mist swirled around the pyramid, shrouding it in reverent stillness. The jungle beyond seemed to pause, aware of the ancient energies contained within. Dreams overtook them, visions of flowing energy, cities synchronized with planetary currents, and humans attuned to forces beyond comprehension. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its wisdom, but even deeper mysteries remained. Anara understood that the journey was only beginning. The lost civilization's ultimate legacy, mastery over energy, consciousness, and perhaps reality itself, awaited those brave enough to continue the quest. The pyramid terraces were bathed in the faint light of dawn, the mist curling around each stone like living smoke. Anara and her team approached with a heightened sense of anticipation, aware that each step could unveil secrets preserved for 28,000 years. The hum that had accompanied them since their earliest explorations now resonated like a deep, rhythmic heartbeat, vibrating through the earth, the stones, and their own bodies. This was no longer merely exploration. It was communion with an intelligence embedded in stone, patient, ancient, and far beyond human comprehension. Descending the spiral corridors, the team felt the pyramid's responses more keenly than ever. Symbols and geometric patterns on the walls shifted and shimmered, lines realigning subtly as if acknowledging their presence. The hum changed in frequency and tone depending on where they walked, suggesting a complex network of interconnected chambers, each with a unique energetic signature. Anura sensed a guiding force, drawing them toward chambers that had remained untouched for millennia. Every passage was a lesson, designed to awaken perception, intuition, and understanding rather than simply display artifacts. They entered a chamber unlike any they had seen before. Its ceiling soared impossibly high, carved with interlocking spirals, concentric circles, and geometric forms that fractured torchlight into shifting, prismatic reflections. The walls were etched with nodes, lines, and celestial symbols forming intricate maps of energy flows. At the center lay a polished stone table, grooves arranged in concentric patterns. As Anura touched it, vibrations surged through her arms and spine, embedding visions into her mind. The builders channeling energy through monumental constructions, observing the stars, and harmonizing their lives with forces beyond modern understanding. Alcoves along the walls revealed polished stones arranged in precise sequences. The geologist studied them intently. "This is a system," he whispered, "not just architecture or ritual, an apparatus that channels energy, consciousness, perhaps even the fabric of reality itself." Anura shivered, realizing that the pyramid was interactive, a living archive designed to awaken understanding in those willing to engage fully. As they progressed deeper, anomalies intensified. Shadows flickered independently, faint luminescent patterns traced the carvings, and the hum shifted in complex rhythms, sometimes harmonious, sometimes dissonant. The pyramid seemed to test them, revealing knowledge only when perception, focus, and intent were aligned. Each chamber was a step deeper into understanding, a multidimensional classroom teaching through vibration, geometry, and energy flow. One chamber drew them irresistibly. Stones were arranged in a wheel-like formation around a central polished oval stone etched with glyphs that shifted when viewed from different angles. As Anura touched it, the vibrations surged through the chamber. Images overwhelmed her, cities radiating harmonic energy, machines synchronized with planetary forces, and humans attuned to flows of energy beyond ordinary perception. The pyramid transmitted knowledge directly into consciousness, bypassing conventional senses and linear thought. Time and memory became fluid. Minutes stretched into hours and layers of visions, some their own, some of the civilization itself, overlaid reality. The structure appeared to manipulate perception, memory, and perhaps even space itself. The builders had designed a system where energy, consciousness, and reality intertwined, creating a direct bridge to understanding and experience. At the spiral's deepest point, they entered a chamber of astonishing scale. The ceiling formed a lattice of interlocking spirals and stars. The floor contained a network of grooves and nodes forming an intricate energy circuit. At the center rested a polished orb etched with shifting glyphs. When Anura touched it, the chamber pulsed with overwhelming energy. Walls glowed, vibrations intensified, and visions of cities, energy conduits, and synchronized machines filled her consciousness. The pyramid revealed itself not only as a repository of knowledge but as a multidimensional machine capable of preserving consciousness, technology, and understanding across 28,000 years. Emerging into the night air, the team remained silent, absorbing the enormity of what they had witnessed. Mist swirled around the pyramid, and the jungle beyond seemed to hold its breath. Dreams overtook them, cities synchronized with energy flows, machines in harmony with the earth, and humans fully attuned to forces beyond comprehension. The pyramid had unveiled fragments of its wisdom, yet even deeper secrets awaited discovery. Anura understood with certainty that the journey was only beginning. The lost civilization's ultimate legacy, mastery over energy, consciousness, and perhaps reality itself, lay ahead for those willing to awaken it fully. The mist clung thickly to the terraces of the pyramid, curling around each stone like ethereal smoke. Anara and her team approached with a quiet reverence, every step weighted with anticipation. This was no ordinary exploration. The pyramid, now humming like a living entity beneath their feet, seemed aware of their presence, resonating in ways that were both physical and metaphysical. The team had traversed corridors and chambers filled with knowledge, energy, and consciousness encoded across 28,000 years, yet they now stood before the ultimate chamber, the heart of the ancient civilization's legacy. Descending the familiar spiral corridors, the hum grew more intense, pulsing rhythmically through the walls and floors. Symbols and geometric patterns shimmered and shifted as they moved, almost as if the stone itself guided them forward. Anara felt a magnetic pull, directing them toward the deepest, most sacred chamber. Each step was both a physical journey and an initiation, awakening perception, intuition, and understanding beyond conventional human experience. They reached the chamber's threshold, and the air seemed charged, vibrating with an energy so dense it was almost tangible. The ceiling arched impossibly high, carved with spirals, concentric circles, and celestial patterns reflecting the torchlight in dazzling, shifting forms. The walls were etched with networks of glyphs, lines, and nodes, mapping energy flows, cosmic alignments, and geometric principles. At the center rested a massive, polished orb, encased in a lattice of intricate grooves that pulsed faintly, as if breathing with the chamber itself. Anara stepped forward, placing her hands on the orb. A surge of energy coursed through her body, radiating outward into the chamber. Vibrations intensified, echoing through walls, floors, and ceiling. Her mind opened to visions unlike any she had experienced. Cities radiating energy harmonically with planetary and stellar movements, machines operating in perfect synchrony with natural forces, and humans functioning as conscious conduits within a vast, interconnected system. She realized the builders had created a structure that was both machine and living archive, designed to preserve and transmit knowledge across millennia. The chamber revealed more than knowledge. It revealed function. The pyramid manipulated energy, perception, and consciousness, creating a bridge between the human mind and the cosmic order. Time and memory shifted within its walls. Anara felt layers of the past and future overlaying the present, granting her insights into the civilization's technology and philosophy. The builders had encoded principles that allowed direct interaction with energy flows, consciousness, and even the fabric of reality itself. Polished stones along the walls formed sequences that focused and amplified vibrations. The geologist observed in awe as the energy patterns responded to touch, thought, and intention, seemingly obeying commands unspoken. "This isn't just a monument," he murmured. "It's a multidimensional machine. They've integrated consciousness, physics, and energy systems into stone." Anara's mind raced. Humanity had preserved nothing like this, yet here it existed, ready for those capable of perceiving and understanding it. As they explored further, time seemed to fragment. Minutes stretched into hours, while memories of the builders, their cities, and their knowledge overlaid the present. The chamber revealed mechanisms that could manipulate perception, energy, and perhaps even physical reality itself. Anara understood that this was the civilization's ultimate gift, a way to awaken consciousness, harmonize with universal forces, and interact with the cosmos on a fundamental level. The orb pulsed in response to their presence, and the chamber itself seemed to hum in acknowledgement. The pyramid was no longer merely a site of discovery. It was a teacher, a guide, a living record. It had preserved the civilization's understanding of energy, consciousness, and cosmic alignment, waiting for humans capable of perceiving and engaging with it fully. The lessons were profound, revealing a mastery of forces that humanity had long forgotten. As they finally emerged into the night air, the team was silent, awestruck by the immensity of what they had encountered. Mist swirled around the pyramid, shrouding it in solemn majesty. The jungle beyond was quiet, as if reverent of the energies contained within. Dreams overtook them, cities harmonized with planetary energy flows, machines attuned to the pulse of the earth, and humans interacting consciously with cosmic forces. The pyramid had revealed fragments of its wisdom, yet the deeper mysteries, encoded across 28,000 years, remained intact, waiting for the next awakening. Anara knew, with absolute clarity, that the civilization's ultimate legacy was not merely architecture or artifacts. It was the knowledge of energy, consciousness, and harmony with the cosmos itself. The pyramid was a bridge between past and future, mind and matter, human and universe. Their journey had only begun. Humanity's understanding of reality, once limited, had been irrevocably expanded by the silent, patient intelligence encoded in the stones of this 28,000-year-old monument. The ultimate secret of the lost civilization, its mastery over energy, perception, and cosmic alignment, was now within reach for those brave enough to explore, engage, and awaken. As we step away from the misty terraces of this 28,000-year-old pyramid, remember that what we've uncovered is just the beginning. A lost civilization left behind knowledge, energy, and mysteries that challenge everything we thought we knew about human history. Imagine the technology, the understanding of consciousness, the cosmic alignment they mastered, waiting silently for the right minds to awaken it. If this journey through ancient secrets inspired your curiosity, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more incredible discoveries, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next adventure into the hidden past. Together, we'll explore lost civilizations, untold histories, and mysteries older than time itself. Stay curious, stay exploring, and remember, the past is far more extraordinary than we ever imagined.